Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about master slides inside of Articulate Storyline 360 and really how you can use them in the most powerful way and understand them. If you've worked with them, great. If you haven't worked with them, this will help you get the most out of your master slides. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back. My name is Jeff Batt, and if you haven't checked out my website already, go ahead and check out my website at learningdojo.ninja. Here you can check out all previous blog posts, everything from Articulate Storyline 360, working with JavaScript inside of 360, as well as Camtasia. You can also check out any just like tips and tricks in production, tool evaluation. You can check all that out here. You can also download templates, Articulate Storyline 360 templates, XAPI and video templates as well, and those are free. And if you're new to any of these tools, you can check out full courses covering everything from A to Z on Articulate Storyline 360, Adobe Captivate, XAPI Fundamentals, Camtasia, Articulate Rise, Custom SCORM, and HTML5 video. When I first started out with Articulate Storyline 360, I would kind of ignore the master slides and I would just create my own slides and not even use the master slides at all, which is, it's fine, but there's a lot of power in the master slides if you understand exactly what's happening inside of the master slides, which is the reason why I wanted to create this video to help you with that. So we're gonna walk through just the concept of master slides. If you're already familiar with master slides, hopefully you pick up a thing or two, or if you're not, hopefully this is at least helpful for you so you can think about how to use master slides inside of your own courses. Now I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible, so I have a blank project that we'll work with, but I have a few slides that I wanted to cover before we dive in. So let's go ahead and talk about this conceptually before we actually dive into Articulate Storyline 360. So master slides, think of them separate from your actual course. These are the templates that your course pages are actually going to be using. So you have one grand master slide. Actually, you could have multiple ones, but let's just stick with one for now. And this grand master slide is pretty much where everything kind of comes from. Think of it like a parent and a child. So you have one parent's, and then all the different children, the different pages will inherit things from that parent. So here's my main master slide. Now I may have other sub slides, master slides that will go into that. But what happens is they all inherit from this main master slide. What that means though, is if I add something to that main master slide, like a next button, what's going to happen on all of those sub master slides, this is where the master slide comes into play. If you put something on that main master slide, it's going to apply to every single page in your course that's using that master slide. So it's going to basically add that next button on every sub master slide, no matter what. And same thing with like logic. So if you have timelines or animations, or you're adding something like a variable, let's say you add a point to like a score on the master slide, well, that is going to cascade down to the different children of that master slide. And that is going to basically add a variable on every single page that the learner goes through. This is used sometimes. You don't need to do it now, but in the past, people would use this for like page counters. And when they would go to a different page, it would count that page or add to that page counter. So that is one way that I've seen it used. Or if you wanted to just keep track of how many pages have been visited or something like that, how many times those have been visited, you could keep track of that using a variable. And if you put it on the master slide, you don't have to duplicate that logic on every single page. That is one of the biggest benefits, is if I'm doing some type of piece of logic on the master slide, no matter what page I go to, it will happen. So even if I'm checking a variable, let's say I'm waiting for a variable to change at some point in the course, if I have logic on that master slide, that main master slide, and I have a layer on that main master slide, whenever and whatever page they're on, if that variable changes, it will actually show that layer on that main master slide. I'm going to walk through that example just so you can kind of understand it. But whatever you do on that main master slide will cascade down to the children. It is the parents, and so it will cascade down to the children. So let's say I don't want those variables to happen on every single page. Well, what I would do in that case, is I would not add the logic on every single page, but I would add it on the sub master slides and on certain types of pages. So let's say one sub master slide, I want to add 1 point, and then on another type of master slide, I want to add 2 points. And so now I have these two different types of master slides that still have that next button that go to that main layer, but I can use these two different types of pages differently. Now, this is independent of your actual course. The course that you're working on and that you're building content in will inherit things from this master slide, but it doesn't actually have any type of content in it. You don't want to put animations or any type of visuals that you don't want to have on all of these other pages. So that's where it comes to this main timeline. So now we're going into Storyline for our specific course, and we have a main timeline. So here is my main timeline right here. And that main timeline will have several different pages inside of that timeline. Now, what happens in this main timeline is each page will inherit from a master slide, a sub master slide first, and also the main master slide as well. So really what happens is it goes in and inherits anything on that submaster, which then that submaster inherits things from that parent. So the parent, the children, grandchildren, and so forth is really how it works. So that means I can add content on top of those master slides, but I can't actually edit that content like that next button or that logic without going into the master slides and editing those. So keep that in mind. But if I actually inherit from a master slide, for example, this one, if I say page 2 is going to inherit from this submaster slide, then as soon as that person goes to page 2, it's automatically going to add that variable. It's going to add the variable 1 without me adding any type of trigger because it's already doing it on that submaster slide. So that is conceptually kind of what's going on, but let's dive in and actually work with it here. So I have a blank project pulled up inside of Articulate Storyline, and I want to go into this page, and I can see that I have my default buttons, my jump to next slide, and my previous slide. Well, I'm going to go ahead and remove those buttons right here, because let's say I wanted to not use the player inside of Articulate Storyline. I wanted to create my own custom controls. Well, I can do that on the master slide. So if I go into View and then I go into Slide Master, this is how I can see the different master slides and sub-master slides inside of my course. And so here is the main master slide. This is the parent. You can see how all these other ones are indented. Those are the children of that parent. So if I wanted to have a next button on every single page, then I would come into that parent, and then I could come in and insert something. Let's just go ahead and insert a shape. I wouldn't probably use one of these arrows, but I'm just going to do that for now. So I'm just going to insert that arrow, and that is going to be my next button. Notice how automatically all those children of that master slide now have that arrow. Now I cannot delete, or I cannot even hide specifically on this master slide because it automatically inherits. Anything that I put on that main master slide will also go to those sub master slides, and then it will go to my pages. So I have to be careful with this. If I want something to happen on any single page, I do it on that main master slide. I'm going to exit out of the master slide here. Notice how that arrow is now there, but I can't edit that here either, because anything on the master slides, you have to go back into the master slides in order to edit them. But this is actually, first of all, applying or inheriting from one of those sub master slides. So if I right click here, and then I go down to Apply Layouts, I can see exactly which page or which submaster it's actually pulling from. So in this case, it's blank. It's pulling from the blank page. So that means if I come in here, let me go into View and then Slide Master. Let's move this arrow. Let's say I only want this arrow to apply on the blank pages. Well, that blank page, if you hover over it, it will tell you the name of that page, but that blank page is right here. So if I paste that arrow into here, only when I actually apply a blank page will that arrow get applied to a page. So let's exit out of the master slide. So this one is starting from a blank page, so therefore it already has that arrow. But if I right click here and I change this from a blank page to a title only page, notice how that arrow goes away because it's not that submaster of the blank page. That is one of the benefits of using or putting content on specific items here. Let's do this with a variable, like if some type of logic that I want to on certain pages add something. I want to add it to the score. So let's create a variable of score first of all. So I'm going to say score, and then this is going to be a number. We're going to keep track of a score, and I'm going to click OK. By default, it's going to start out as 0. So I'm going to click OK here, and then I'm going to go into the master slide here. Now you can create another master slide just by clicking on Insert Layout, and this will insert a layout here. Now on that layout, I can get rid of any kind of placeholder text. You can have placeholders here. You can insert a placeholder, and that would have just it's ready for content to be swapped by the user. You can do that. So let's actually rename this one first of all. So I'm going to go to rename up here, and we're going to call this one add points. So whenever they go to this type of page, it's going to add a point to that score. So I'm going to come into the triggers here. So we're going to adjust the variable, and we're going to add 1 point to the score. So as soon as the timeline starts, it's going to add that point to the score. Now I do want to display the score. So let's insert a couple of pages. So I'm going to have a basic slides, and this one is going to be a blank slide. And I probably want to bring the navigation back for this. We already talked about if I wanted to create my own custom navigation, I would create these arrows, but I would probably have to have a jump to slide next. But now we're just kind of talking about the variables. So I'm going to insert some text. And if I want this score to display on every single page, I probably want to go into the master slide. Let's do that actually. So let's go into the main master slide, and let's insert some text here. So we're just going to keep track of this on every single page. I'm going to click on insert here. I'm going to go over to reference here, and let's insert the score. So now it's just going to display the score on every single page in the bottom right hand side here. But if we go to that add score, what's going to happen is it's going to add 1 when we get to this type of page. So I'm going to close out that master slide here. I'm going to right click on this page here, and I'm going to go to apply layout, and let's have this first one be the blank page. And then let's have this second one actually be where you add the score. So apply layout, and then we're going to have add points right there. Now I could still design the rest of this page how I want to. And so let's go ahead and add one more page, and this page is going to be another blank page. So again, I can go in here and insert objects and pictures and pretty much just design this page how I want. Well, let's add one more. I do want to add one more just so you can see it adjust on certain pages and not adjust on other pages. So let's add one more page. That's going to be add points, and there we go. So I don't see the trigger here. Know that because I'm inheriting from that sub master slide, what's going to happen is it's automatically going to add that point without me having to do that or even call that specifically on this page. So now let's preview this entire scene here. Okay, so the score has not updated yet. I'm going to click on the next button. You see that the score automatically updated just by going to this type of page. It automatically updated for me. I'm going to go to another page. It did not update again. And then I'm going to go to the final page, and it updated as well. So that means you can have some type of logic for different types of pages that the learner goes to. You can add some type of score. You could, it could be like even a quiz question automatically sent, or an XAPI statement automatically sent, or something like that. And that would allow you to keep track of how many types of pages, or even score if it's more of like a menu where the learner goes down different parts. They could get scores for certain types of topics as well. So a lot of application here that I wanted to just kind of explore a little bit and talk through that. I do want to show one more thing here is if you go to your master slide, one other powerful thing about this is if I go into my slide master and I go into my main master here, what I could do is I could have a layer that would show some type of content on any page that they're on. I'm going to call this one information page. And now I'm going to set these settings to a dialog page. Now this is in one of the most recent updates of Storyline, so make sure you update your Storyline here. But I'm going to present this as a dialog, which automatically grays out, which is pretty nice. I used to have to add a box, make it transparent, but it automatically grays out the background there. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert a shape here, and this shape is going to have some information. So that is, oh, I accidentally did text. So let's insert a shape here. Adjust the corners a little bit. I'm going to change this to no outlines. I do not like the outlines. And then I'm going to change this to whites here. Then I'm going to add a drop shadow just to make it pop a little bit more. You can barely tell there, but I do like that. Now I'm going to add equals lorem, open close parentheses, and you can't see the text because it's white. So I'm going to change that to a darker color here. So that's some information there. Now let's make sure that we can close this. So I'm going to insert, let's do an icon here. Let's search for a close icon. Let's insert that right here. And I'm going to move this over to the side. Now what this will do is it will hide the layer. So this could pop up at any page or on any specific page at all. And it's going to hide the layer whenever they click that button. So we'll just go ahead and say hide layer. And it's going to hide this layer, not when the timeline starts, but when the user clicks on that button. So when they click on the icon, it's going to hide that layer. So now what I can do is I can show that whenever a certain variable changes. So let's create another variable here, just you can do this wherever you're at. But let's go ahead and say show info is going to be the name of the layer. And we're going to have this be a true or false. By default, it's going to be false. But if it's true, it's going to go ahead and show that layer. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK here and click OK here. Now, what I'm going to do on the master slide is I'm going to add a trigger to show this if that variable is true. Let's go ahead and add a trigger, and we're going to show the layer. That's the action, is it's going to show the layer here, and it's going to show the information layer not when the user clicks on this, but when the variable changes. So let's go for variable changes right here. That's the when event, basically. So not when the score changes, but with this show information changes here. Now I only want it to show if it's true. So if it's false, I don't want it to show. If it's true, I want it to show. So we need to add a condition. So we're going to say if show info is equal to true. So I'm going to select this drop down box here. Now we have this set up to say, okay, whenever this is true, show this layer. Now we need to change it back to false once the layer is shown. So that's one other step we need to do. So I'm going to just select true here and click OK. So that will show whenever that is true. But we need to, when this layer shows, we need to adjust it back to false so we can then trigger it back to true again. It's kind of a little bit of a setup, but this is powerful because now on any single page, I can have this information pop up. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this layer, and I'm going to adjust not the score, we're going to adjust the show info and adjust variable. I think I said adjust layer, but we're going to set this back to false once this layer is shown. Now it's not going to hide the layer automatically because we don't have that set up. It will only hide the layer when we click on that X button. So I'm going to go ahead and just say when variable. So we're going to have this adjust it back to false when the timeline starts. So I'm going to click OK. So this is set up now. So I'm going to close this out. Now, what this means, because I added it on the master slide, what this means is that any point in my course, I can trigger this layer to show when that variable changes. So at some point inside of my course, all I need to do is actually trigger that variable. Now I could add on the master slide, I could add a button that would trigger it that would have be visible on every single page, or I can have that button on specific type of submaster pages, or I can have it just on the regular pages. I'm just going to insert it for now, just so we can see the power of this. I'm going to, without having to add an additional layer here, I'm going to go ahead and insert a button or just a shape here. And that button is just going to adjust the variable. I don't have to add on any additional triggers. I just have to adjust the variable. We're going to say show info or set show info to true, not when the timeline starts, but when the user clicks. So when they click on that rectangle, it's going to show this info. So let's go ahead and preview it. So we're on this page. That variables is not going to change until I get to that one page. You can see this variable is still changing. But now once I get to this page, I can click on that button and it will show the information. So no matter what page I'm on, I can have several different layers. I could have information, I could have key points, I could have a map. If you want the learner to see where they're at inside of a map, you could have a map show up as well. So just a lot of powerful things here. Now you could even have like logic. If they click on it, you could have a layer that will then figure out something with conditions or something like that and then take them to different pages. A lot of possibilities here. So I'm going to go ahead and just exit out of this now and go back to another page and just let's actually even do one more thing. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to copy this and go to the second page. And let's preview this entire scene again, just so we can see that it will happen on more than one page, basically. Let's go to page 2. Let's go to page 3. There is our layer, our information layer. Let's go to page 4, click here. There is our same information layer without having to duplicate anything there. Now I know you could do like light boxes as well, and you have separate pages. I like the fact of having layers on there, especially if you're gonna create like a game or something like that that can then affect or add points or affect objects on the main master slide. Or, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here that I like a little bit better than using something like a light box. But hopefully this at least shows you the power of master slides and really how you can use it to adjust logic and show layers, and basically even like style wise add certain buttons to certain types of pages. So hopefully this is helpful for you. Again, if you want to check out more, you can head on over to my website, learningdojo.ninja. You can check out all previous blog posts on different tips and tricks inside of Articulate Storyline 360, Adobe Captivate, and Camtasia, and other things like that. You can download free templates. If you're still new at this, you can check out everything from A to Z inside of Articulate Storyline 360, Adobe Captivate, XAPI Fundamentals, Camtasia, Articulate Rise, Custom SCORM, and HTML5 video. And if you haven't already, head on over to my YouTube channel. Click that like button. It really helps out my channel. Subscribe to my channel as well, and then hit that bell notification so you get notified whenever I drop new videos as well. It also helps out my channel, allows me to continue to grow, and allows me to add more videos or to continue to create more videos for you so you can become the best learning developer that you want to be. Also, if you have any other comments, you want to see anything else with Master Slides, feel free to leave a comment below this video on my YouTube channel, and I'll be happy to respond to those. So thanks everyone.